Hi, good evening. Thank you for tuning in to our Instagram live conversation. My name is Marta Abawaji. I am the head of community engagement at Springtide Research Institute, and I'm going to be joined by three of our current ambassadors. We have a really fantastic program we want to share with you tonight, and there's no one better to do it than current ambassadors as well. So they are requesting to go live along with me. We have them joining. The first one coming in right now, I believe, is Elise in Massachusetts. Hi, Elise.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I'm great.
I'm so happy to have you in the conversation this evening. I was just mentioning you're in Massachusetts, correct?
Yep.
What's the weather like this evening for you?
It's a bit cold, but overall it's good.
It's cold here too. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. So Elise and I are both in the East Coast. We actually have two more East Coasters joining the conversation in just a bit. But our Springtide Ambassadors program is open nationwide. We have young people from coast to coast who are invited to join, even if you don't live coast to coast. If you live in an island area or U.S. territory, even, you're invited to apply. You just have to be between the ages of 13 and 23 because our research focuses on that age demographic. Our research technically goes up to age 25, but that's because we want our SAP members to have time to age while they're in the program, because it is a 15-month commitment that you're going to hear more about what that actually entails in those 15 months. So I'm looking to see if Blake or Zaina, I see you guys are in the call right now. If you want to request to join, I will approve you to jump in with Elise and me as well. We want you as our viewers, whether you're a trusted adult who follows our research or whether you're a young person yourself considering the Springtide Ambassadors program, we want you to be able to ask any questions tonight. So you're welcome to pop them into the comment section as well as use the question box. And I see Zaina and Blake both requested, so letting them jump in right now too. Hi, Blake.
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you for joining this evening. And hi, Zaina.
Hi.
So we're all here. The crew's all here. Will you guys introduce yourselves? I know I've mentioned your first names and maybe a bit of your locations, but still offer name, age, the state you're in, and your pronouns.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Blake. I'm age 21. I live in Pennsylvania, and my pronouns are he and him.
Fantastic.
My name's Zaina. I'm 17. My pronouns are she, her, and I live in Boston, Mass.
My name is Elise. You, she, her pronouns. I live in Massachusetts, and I'm 16.
Fantastic. Thank you, three. So you can see we already have a little bit of an age spectrum here. We have 16, 17, and Blake, you're 20 or 21?
21.
That's why when you said 21, I was like, what? Where did this happen? So Blake has founded a cool organization that Springtide partnered with called Teen Talk Hotline. So you're technically not a teen anymore, but you're still running Teen Talk Hotline, correct?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Okay, I love that. So Blake has already really cared about empowering young people in his generation. Zaina has done amazing advocacy work and was part of our last Instagram Live we had with SAT members where we talked about acts of protest as a spiritual practice. If you caught that, if you didn't, the video recording is still available for you to see. And Elise has done a ton with our ambassadors program. One notable thing is her podcast episode is about to release in a few weeks in December. I just finished editing that, so it was really fun to listen back on our podcast conversation, at least. So they've done more than what I briefly highlighted right now, but I'm wondering if you guys can think back to a year ago when you applied to SAP? Because we have people who are considering this opportunity right now, and are weighing, their own commitments alongside this and making this decision. So why did you want to apply to SAP when you first heard about this opportunity?
I can go first. I think that during that time, I was kind of looking for ways to get more involved and kind of progress as an advocate and as a writer. And when I saw the Springtide application, I thought it was a perfect opportunity. And since applying, I think that really was the deciding factor that kind of got the ball rolling for me when it comes to getting my name out there and being recognized as an advocate and continuing my work, and kind of giving me the courage to keep working even though I'm so young, and like giving me that reassurance that even though I'm 17, I still have like a pretty usable voice, I guess.
I love it. I'm glad that you saw this as an opportunity for your voice to be further highlighted in the world, and I hope that has been your experience. You can tell us more a bit if it's lived up to those expectations. What about you, Elise? Why did you first want to apply to this program?
So I've always been really interested in like topics of like spirituality and faith. And when I heard about this, I thought it would be like a really cool opportunity to get to hear other people's perspectives and also sort of offer my own voice in the conversation. And
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was definitely like excited for this because I really thought it would be a good opportunity to hear from other people and just sort of like, I guess, learn more about myself along the way. And I mean, it's definitely lived up to that for me personally.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm really glad. Yeah, that's exactly what we hope this is, that there's a place of self-exploration that comes, as well as community building, essentially, because there's young people from all different pockets of the country, from all different backgrounds and perspectives, who get to be in the journey together. What about you, Blake?
So like you said earlier, we're partnered with you guys at Teen Talk Hotline. And I actually have been working closely with you guys for a while now. So I know the research that you guys have been doing. So I kind of joined to hear different perspectives, opinions, and beliefs, and try to expand the knowledge of what young people are really looking for, to apply that to our organization or to myself in the future.
Wonderful. Well, all of those answers are exactly what we hoped this would be. We launched this program a year ago, and we had high expectations, high hopes, but you all have made them not only realized, but you've exceeded my own hopes of what this program could be. We wanted to have a place where youth and young adults could contribute to our research and contribute to the ways that we report our findings, to make it not just, okay, we heard from 10,000 young people in the surveys this year, which is already massive, but to actually have a specific group that we're in regular conversation with over the course of a little over a year, 15 months, who can really sharpen what we're doing, help us in the ways we ask questions, what ways we connect with young people, and to then make our research come to life in further ways, whether that is in a podcast episode, whether that's in a blog post, or being quoted in some of the reporters who contact us to cover our findings in different journalism pieces. Doing Instagram live conversations like this, or other video clips that further bring our data to life. You all have been fantastic, as has your entire 2021 cohort. Has what you hoped a year ago when you applied, has it lived up to your expectations? Elise already said it has for her. It's definitely met them. What about you, Zaina and Blake?
I think for me, it definitely exceeded my expectations. I think that a year ago joining Springtide, I don't think I've ever really thought that I'd be given the opportunity to be featured in the Wall Street Journal, or the Washington Post, or all the other major news outlets that we were quoted in. And I think that through joining Springtide, it really helped me develop my voice as a writer, which also really was something that I wasn't expecting. and kind of gave me like a different outlook on the way I want to move forward in the future and like the career paths I want to go on.
That's huge. Yeah. A big theme that we had in our 2021 conversations was focused on work because of the work-life report that we released. So the fact that this is influencing some of your career aspirations is really significant to hear. And I think you are a super strong writer, but I'm so glad to hear you feel like this has strengthened your writing and your speaking as well. What about you, Blake?
Yeah, whenever I was signing up, I did not know what to like fully expect. But it did like exceed my expectations. Just because like I didn't really know whether or not like it would like fit in with like my personal passions like acting or like videography. And like going back to like one of my favorite projects is like the online commercial thing for Springtide for the website.
Oh yeah,
That
our
like
dedication video. Yeah.
yeah, that one was like so much fun to do, and it just exceeded my expectations for like actually participating in the program. And I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you mentioned that one because we really want to give a range of opportunities for our SAP members to be involved. So once we have our SAP cohort set, then we want to give a lot of different mediums for you to bring our findings to life. So sometimes that's podcast recordings, sometimes that's interviews with reporters, sometimes that's doing your own writing, sometimes it's more creative and out of the box with videography, like you mentioned, Blake. And we want to continue to have a range of opportunities that you can opt into. So our ambassadors, they don't have to all be good at everything and all participate in everything. Each month, I highlight 1 or 2, sometimes 3 project opportunities that people can volunteer to do. The expectation is just that you do about 4 over the course of your 15-month commitment. I think almost every SAT member has exceeded those 4 just because we have a really active group who's excited to collaborate on different projects together or bring their own voice into that particular opportunity. So what does it look like? We've said some things, but what does it look like to actually be a SAT member? What does the commitment entail?
I think that when you're first reading the application and kind of hear that it's a 15-month program, it can almost be really intimidating because you would think that it would be something that you're constantly thinking about, constantly worrying about. I'm in high school. I'm also an athlete. Like I have things to do during the week and through school. And Springtide hasn't once ever been a commitment that I needed to drop something else for or needed to sacrifice another one of my activities for. And for the amount that you get out of it, I think the little commitment that you're kind of asked to put in is actually really reasonable. Even though it is 15 months, it doesn't feel like it is because you're only really meeting once a month for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And the little projects that you do, I don't think you've ever given any of us a project that didn't take like more than maybe a half hour tops.
Okay. That's also what I'm really glad to hear because I wouldn't want it to the project opportunity, though the time could range. Sometimes people email me questions or like, how much time is expected for these different projects? So the fact that you feel like it was just a half hour usually seems really doable. I'm sure sometimes it might stretch into an hour or 2 a month.
But we would always really be given like 6 or 7 days to do it.
Yeah.
Like the deadlines would always be like a week before our next meeting. So I would have like a good amount of time. So like a 10-minute reflection every day toward the end of the final project for each month was like perfectly reasonable and never interfered with like anything.
It makes sense though what you're saying, that 15 months can sound kind of daunting. We purposely wanted the program to be more than a year because we want there to be a 3-month period where one cohort, the current cohort, can kind of pass the baton to the next cohort. So we're going to be having that transition in a few months here where cohort 1 is going to overlap a bit with cohort 2, but that's so that we just feel like there's continuity with our ambassadors connecting even a bit, not just with their own group, but one group to the next. So yeah, the 15 months, there was some definitely intention behind it. And what I'm hearing from some of our current members, some of the people in your group, is they're like, we're not ready to say goodbye yet. So they're glad that they're not having to say goodbye at the end of the calendar year. We got a little bit more time to keep gathering monthly. Blake, yeah, is there anything else you want to add to that? What it means to really be an ambassador?
So with me, I have like a super chaotic schedule and it like very rarely like interferes with it. And even if it does, it's like no problem at all. You just gotta like make sure you let Marta know or Josh or Ellen know. And then they're like fully understandable, like if your schedule is super chaotic like mine. But like other than that, like yeah, I like really manage like the time wisely, and I fit it in my schedule. Like every month I look forward to the meetings, and then shortly after that, like if I opt into a project that month, I like do it like within the week and then just turn it in. So yeah, it's like super easy.
Great. So good to hear that. I'm glad you brought up the absences piece because, yes, it's a 15-month commitment, but we ask that you attend at least 12 of those sessions. So we give grace and flexibility around all the different commitments and schedules that everyone has. So just giving that quick advance notice, like Blake mentioned, is all we really need to know, like, oh, okay, Blake has this commitment this month. We're not going to see him till next month. And so it's considered like an excused absence, just so we're tracking your commitment with you. But it's not like you're being docked in some way if you have to miss a month. It's understandable that everyone has some time that it's going to have a conflict. Elise, did you want to say anything more about what it kind of looks like month to month to be a SAP member?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I definitely agree that it's not like a high commitment or anything, but I think the time you do put into it is definitely worth it because it's a really great opportunity to be able to do all the projects we're doing. So, I mean, it's definitely like fun even when you do have to do things.
Good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I hope the project opportunities generally feel like I want to do this because I want to expand this skill set. Maybe in terms of your writing or public speaking or being interviewed, or some creative project. I want to expand it or just improve something that you're already passionate about. At least we've already mentioned some of the projects you've been involved in. Do you want to highlight or mention anything else?
Sure. One thing I was really excited about was the first blog post I did because I think it's a really great opportunity to sort of be creative with your writing and also have a little bit more of a platform for it. So that was definitely a fun project for me.
You are a strong writer, and I know you're passionate about writing, like that it's one of your main hobbies. So there's people who really care about writing that want to be an ambassador, and that can show up in a lot of different ways they're writing. It could be that they're really into poetry or creative writing or short stories or more introspective, reflective writing. But we give everyone a chance, no matter what kind of writer they are, to processing each month in writing with journal prompts. We have a different sort of theme we focus on each month, and we give that journal reflection prompt in advance so people can all kind of go at their own pace to consider the topics we're going to be discussing. So no one ever has to feel like they're suddenly like, oh no, I don't know what my stance is or position is or ideology is behind this topic. You get a chance to do some internal processing and reflecting, whether you draw and doodle or paint or do some sort of creative expression, or whether a certain type of writing is the way you reflect. We give space for journaling and personal reflection before you have to bring and process with the group. That's just a side note about how sometimes the writing develops. Blake, Zaina, other projects that we haven't mentioned yet that you've been involved in?
I think my favorite creative one was probably the day in the life
Yeah.
videos.
We just posted that one of yours.
Yeah,
Actually.
I know. I noticed. I think that I'm not really a creative person, especially when it comes to like projects and like writing and things like that. But I think that this one was really easy to do. It was really lighthearted and fun. Also, another thing about projects is that they're kind of low pressure almost, because as long as you're just like trying and giving your effort to them, there's really no like grade or repercussion or anything like that. And you'll always kind of get some sort of outcome for whatever work you put into it. My favorite project though is just the fact that I was published in the Wall Street Journal. That is like, it's just like it's still like crazy to me, even though it was like published a couple weeks ago. It's like, it's just like, it's like one of the greatest things I've ever done. Like I will still not stop talking about it. And I think that the fact that I was given that opportunity through this program is like why I will like just hold on to that forever. And I'm like sad to leave, because not being an ambassador anymore almost means that like that time's over. It's like sad.
We're there yet. We're not gonna get sad just yet, but I'm so glad that you feel that way about your commitment. And yeah, getting quoted in major news outlets is a big deal, and I'm really proud that we've been able to partner with multiple members of our Springtide staff who say, hey, I have this really cool idea that SAP could be involved in. And you all get to interface not only with members of our staff, whether that's in our SAP meetings or through other projects, but you also get to connect with our research advisors a little bit. I know we had some at the last November meeting. We're going to have some more at this next December meeting, which is another really cool networking opportunity to get to talk to these professionals, whether they're faith leaders, whether they're academics, whether they're youth or young adult workers who want to really see Gen Z empowered and who care about listening to young people, that you get to have that extra interaction with these adults who are intent on listening and listening to the voices of young people. Plug for our podcast name. Blake, other projects you've done?
Yeah, I was featured in the Washington Post about spirituality, which was like so cool because like I did not expect to get that opportunity at all. And then like referring back to like my favorite project, the dedication video, I put like my all into that. It was like so much fun, and my best friend actually helped me film it. So it was like a lot of fun.
Oh, I love that you could bring in another young person to that one too, since that's not necessarily the case for every project opportunity, but that one was a perfect one too with videography. Yeah, the fact that you all have different spiritual backgrounds, but you all have a way that you've been able to express faith, religion, spirituality, your ideas, your questions, your frustrations, your hopes in terms of these subjects is really significant. When Blake mentioned that piece in the Washington Post about spirituality, it was about tarot reading and crystals and other practices that Gen Z is really keen on observing and digging into. And we were so proud to have some of those findings released from Springtide nationally that are shaping national conversations on what Gen Z is doing in terms of religion, faith, spirituality. So when you're a Springtide ambassador, you get to participate in really meaningful conversations with your cohort, with our group each month, but the conversation goes also to a national stage where tons of people end up getting to read our findings and further reflect when your own ideas are brought to bear on those findings, whether it's in a news article, whether it's in a blog post, whether it's in some of our research publications, where we love to be able to quote and point to SAP members as well. So that is no small thing. So thank you all for highlighting those ways that your voice is getting out there into the world. And yes, I say national conversation, but I guess I should also mention that we have international readers and viewers who are tuned in as well. It's just that our data is specific to the US at this point when it comes to 13 to 25-year-olds. Okay, so we've covered a bit about the commitment level. Is there anything else you want to say of just how you balanced this commitment month to month over the course of the last year?
I think for me, kind of my just basic like set thing for everything is that school should always come first. So I made sure that any project that I was working on, any interview that I would do, anything like that, always would not interfere with my schoolwork. That wasn't really too big of an issue. I think the only time that I ever really had to sacrifice something like academic was for the Wall Street Journal, but that was obviously like I was willing to do it like immediately. And that was nothing more than like a phone call like during practice. But I think that kind of you're given so much time in between each project that there's really no struggle to balance your time, because if you kind of set aside like even 10 minutes when the journal prompt is announced, or like the day out, I know Blake mentioned doing the projects the week after the meeting. That's what I did. I think it's like a great method to kind of do it, is just right after we log off at 9 o'clock, just kind of, or 8:30, to just do everything you need to do right there, and then kind of move on and do everything else that you need to do until the next month. And we have a lot of time to work on it, so it's a lot of time to kind of think and like really compose and figure out what you want to do for the rest of the time. Yeah.
Beautiful. Anyone else want to speak to the time commitment aspect? Okay, I think we've covered it, but if someone has a question about what it entails or whether it's doable or not, feel free to drop a question in. I'm wondering if you just want to say why should your peer, whether it's someone you know directly or someone you've never met, why should they apply to be a 2022 Springtide ambassador?
Well, I would say I feel like it's a really great opportunity if you're interested in spirituality, but also if you just want to like learn from other people. And it's a really great way to get your voice out there. I mean, like Zaina talked about, you're getting like opportunities to be featured in journals and things you would never really get to do if you didn't you might not get to do if you didn't try this. So, I mean, I highly encourage it for really anyone my age.
Thanks, Elise. Yeah, I think people are dropping it into resumes now. They're dropping it into cover letters and applications for college and jobs. So we hope that this program, being involved in it, furthers your own academic and career aspirations and opportunities, just because it's great. It's great leadership experience. It's great communication skill building experience, but it's a really cool thing to highlight. It's a really unique opportunity to highlight for those next steps that youth and young adults are taking. Blake, what did you want to say?
I was gonna say, if there's like an opportunity like this that like knocks on the door, like take it. Like take full advantage of it and go for it. Make a difference. Because I know for a fact, like everybody that's a part of like this program right now, we made such a huge impact like all over the world. And I think like that's very inspiring. So like I definitely want like my peers to take advantage of the opportunity to better themselves, but also better the world.
Love it. Love it. Zaina, why should someone apply?
I think it's kind of not really a popular point, but networking. Kind of having that contact. I know that I recently reached out to you and Ellen about something that's completely separate from Springtide, but like you were still able to help me a lot with it. Kind of forming that connections with people if you want to go into any topic that Springtide kind of covers, which is pretty vast. Just kind of getting into that field is really, really helpful, especially when you're so young. Another thing, which is kind of, it seems like small, but meeting people from all around the country and being able to have a conversation with them and develop friendships with them, even though you live super far away, it's just fun. Like it's a good like bonus. Obviously you get to experience a bunch of cool things academically and like career wise through Springtide, but I also made a lot of friends through this cohort that I like am fairly close with, and I think that that's like a really cool bonus to applying.
Yeah, I'm glad you offered that point too. I keep hearing from a lot of you that you're like, wait, I've never met you in person? Like you forget that we don't know each other in our in-person day-to-day lives, because we really tried to establish, hey, this is your group. These are the people that you're in conversation with for 15 months. So like let's be real with each other. Let's get to know each other in substantial ways. So I really loved observing that and hearing that from you all as well. Well, we've had a solid conversation, but I don't want to cut you off. If you have any final thoughts you want to say, just to encourage someone who's considering applying.
Take any opportunity given, especially so young. If you care about any topic that Springtide really goes over, if you want to be more involved in advocacy and learn how to get your voice out there, there's no other opportunity that you'll be given, really. Like, it's such a good way to kind of like get your steps in, get the ball rolling. It's just a good opportunity to take.
Wonderful. Anything else, Elise and Blake?
Dana beat me to it. I was gonna say go for it.
Okay, so you're hearing these current ambassadors be like, what are you waiting for? And I guess I'll just echo them, because the application is really not that cumbersome. We don't want it to be something that takes, hours of time. It's mainly just demographic info, contact information, and then 3 short answer questions. We're just looking for a short paragraph on each of these questions, because we don't want it to be a huge lift to apply, but it gives us enough information to pick a really diverse and exciting cohort. So some applications have been rolling in, and we're excited for that to keep happening, because there's still several days till the deadline, but it is coming up. So this Sunday, December 5th, all applications are due online. You can find the online application on our website, springtideresearch.org/SAP, SAP. You can also find it by clicking ambassadors on our page on our website, but the URL hopefully is really easy, springtideresearch.org/SAP. We are happy to answer any questions that come up in the meantime. You can find my email and contact information on that same website page I mentioned. And you can always comment on videos and other posts on the Instagram account, and we're happy to answer that way as well. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing this opportunity with the 13 to 23-year-olds in your community or network. And thank you for considering applying. We're really thrilled to have such a fantastic cohort 1 that has set the bar high, because y'all have been amazing. We have high hopes for what this next cohort will look like in 2022 as well. Thank you, and good night. Thanks, guys, for tuning in and for being a part of the conversation. Elise, Blake, and Zana. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.